You know the story that you always hear about people who have turned their lives from from rags to riches. It happens all the time, right? And you find out that in all these efforts to try to get people to understand that the journey of life is peculiar to each individual. Throughout this month, Broken Not Shattered, our focus is talking about women, sharing stories about women who are doing well in their professional career and how they actually got there. And in some cases, it will be women who are just starting off young, completely naive, don't know what to do with their lives. But something just comes, an idea pops in because they're becoming, right? It's a journey. We understand that success is different for everyone. And so we try to get our guests from different backgrounds and different walks of life. Women becoming and inspiring others. That is the theme for this month on Broken Not Shattered. My guest today will have a story to tell. Her story, as long as I'm concerned, is a very inspiring story. Let us welcome to Broken Not Shattered for the very first time from Port Harcourt in Lagos, no, Port Harcourt in Nigeria, Miss Favor. Favor, welcome to Broken Not Shattered for the first time. How are you, Favor?
Thank you.
Good.
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah.
But you know, I haven't done this by myself so in a long time. I always try to make sure that my right hand man is along with me. So my audience have been asking, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Let me bring it to the house, OBG. OBG.
Welcome.
OBG. Obi, you're on mute, man. You're on mute, Obi. Okay, so we brought Obi into the house.
When they ask where is Obi, tell them Obi is becoming.
Obi
He
is
is
becoming. Obi is becoming. Welcome to the studio, Obi. All right.
yes.
Our guest today is Favor. Favor, you are. Tell us about yourself, Favor. Just tell us about yourself. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Ndukwe Favor. I'm from Abia State in Nigeria. I live in Port Harcourt. I grew up in a family of just two with my mom. I lost my dad just immediately after I was done writing my work. And basically, that is the basic informations about me. And life had never been easy right from when I was a child, but my father did his best. I had a very responsible father and a very supportive mother. My mom hails from Anambra State, and their women are known to be hustlers. So my mom is a very supportive woman, and my dad was not just a supportive father, but a responsible one at that, because he started by pointing us to God early enough. I know that growing up, I met a number of challenges, but there is as the scripture would always say, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old he will not depart from it. It simply means that you are more like sowing a seed, that even
Correct.
when the child strays away, there would always be a voice to call
Right.
this child back.
Living
It's
witness.
just like the Google search engine. Exactly. It's just like the these Google, they call it, I think it's search engine optimization. The
Yes.
moment you
Google.
click restaurants in Port Harcourt, it just goes as far as bringing different options. That is
Correct.
what had happened at intervals in my life. There are situations I get to meet, and just somehow I remember that there is this thing my daddy would always say, and it worked out for him. And I would apply it to whatsoever it was at that moment. And um this Christian upbringing helped me a whole lot. It
Okay.
helped me a whole lot. Yeah.
All right. That's good. So at least you had the foundation that was right. But in spite of all that
Yeah.
foundation you had, there were still challenges and struggles in your life. Growing up
Yes.
in Port Harcourt, what was life like for you as a child? on the streets of Poako?
Okay, I would say life was just there. I was a hustling young girl doing different kinds of hawking business. I grew up in Rumomasi in Port Harcourt City. I stayed there for like 21 years of my life, and this is a story that everybody there knows. If for any reason my picture is taken to Rome Mercy, it's either one person knows me as the girl who hawks water leaf, or another person knows me as the one who sells mama put, or the girl who does zobo. I'm just known for one trade or the other. As long as money kept coming into my hand,
So
and
give us
as long as I wasn't
give
going
us
to use
give
it
us
for the
hold on, favor, hold on, hold on. Give us an
okay.
example. Sorry for interrupting you. Give us examples of what you actually sold, so my audience can hear your
Ah,
story. Yeah,
I don't think I'll be able to exhaust them. I sold
just try,
water
just
leaf.
try. Give us 10.
Oh, I told what I live. I did vegetable hawking. I did corn roasting. I did frying of yam. I did my mama put business. I sold zobo. I made chin chins to sell. I started making slippers. These very fanciful slippers with bedroom slippers. I did 1,001 things. So it's about a number of trades I did. I did so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a skill set that you know you might think as you might see it as just a hustle, but I see it as someone who's a serial entrepreneur, right? You're trying different businesses to find out which one will actually work for you, and it's
Yeah.
not a hustle. It's the businesswoman in you, and has the with time you've learned to cultivate. So the days of hustling has changed. How did that change take place?
How everything changed. First of all, I had real financial issues, which led to me dropping from school in 2021. I dropped at almost 400 level. Things were tight. I just could not continue, alongside too many psychological trauma, and it was affecting my academics. So I wanted to face my mama puts business here in the city of Port Harcourt, and I started anyway. It was tough because I grew up not just as a Christian girl, but as a preacher of the gospel. I started hosting teenagers conferences and a whole lot of that. Some churches invited me to speak to their youths and things like that. And my experience, my reality was not matching the words that came out from my mouth. When you're telling someone God is good, and you have to struggle before you can eat, you have to struggle before you can afford the least medical bill, you have to struggle to get every basic thing of life. It was not there was no it was not corresponding at all. But I kept holding on to the fact that god does not owe God does not owe. There is a particular scripture that makes so much sense to me, and that scripture said, would a child ask his father for stone and he would give him bread? Would he ask him for fish and he would give him serpent? Exactly. That was what the scripture said. The Bible now said that if men in all their humanity cannot do this wickedness to their own child, not to talk of a father,
Wow. I hope I haven't lost her. Oh
sent
my
his
God.
only son for us. So it kept me going. At every point I always went back to God. At every point on this journey I always went back to God. It was tough. But one day, just like a miracle, I one of the days I was selling somewhere in front of ShopRite at Rumomasi. This happened on 17th November 2022. I'm a writer on Facebook, and whenever I put up a write up, I take a picture with my truck and I post, because I didn't want to be among those who would try to impress people. You are living a fake life on social media, and in reality, you don't match what you profess online. So I
Yes.
just wanted people to know that it is possible to still call on God and be struggling. It is still very possible. It's possible for Jesus to be in the same boat with you and the storm would arise. It's just for you to recognize him. It's just
Sure.
for you to seek for his attention. So I just
Ah!
kept doing that. I was bent on letting even young ministers know that it's possible not to compromise the gospel in your mouth as long as you have something doing.
Mm.
When the honorarium or your next meal is not dependent on the honorarium that comes from your host and all that. So that fateful day, I went to sell, and for some reasons, my friend called me and she said, Favor, Minister Judy K just shared your post. I was like, Minister Judy K, the Nigerian gospel artist? She said, yes. I said, how? She said, just come online. I didn't even have data that day. I had to go recharge my phone. I came online. I was just seeing so many notifications on Facebook. I was seeing tags here and there. Congratulations. What happened? Was I put on Jumia for sale? What exactly? Has someone adopted me without me knowing? What exactly has happened? I went inbox. I saw Minister Judy K. I discovered she shared one of my posts, and that was one of my posts with my truck when I went to sell. I made a post, a very long post, which she read and shared and told people to patronize me. That it is beautiful to see a young girl who is not ashamed of her hustle and still preaching Jesus at the same time. Then she asked people to patronize me. She came in box. She asked what it would cost for me to start up a little shop. I told her that it's going to. I just gave her a budget of 400 to 600,000, and she was like, okay, she was going to get back to me. First of all, she had sent me 70,000 naira that day, and
Wow.
70,000 was so much of a big money because I did not even have it. I wasn't even, as at that day, I was not even worth 20,000. So it was so much of a big money to me. And the next day, all I had to do, there's these guys my heart had been reaching out to. Um, all of us attended the same secondary school. We grew up in the same environment, but they ended up on the streets doing drugs and all that. So I just had the next day, I just had to cook for them, send it there. We shared the food. We went online singing and worshiping. Somehow she came across the video. That same day, she sent me money for the shop. And I just made a random post telling people to help me thank her. That is what she had done for me. She sent me money to rent a shop. And then there is a South African based technologist whose name is Dr. Charles Awozie. I had been following him for a while. He saw my post, and then he had known my story all this while. But
Right.
sometimes when we talk about helpers and sponsors, they already want to see what you are doing before
Hmm.
they can come in. They don't just want to meet you with too many stories. They just
That's
want to see you doing something. Let it be you're struggling, but you are doing something.
correct.
I went online, made a post, and narrated exactly how I dropped out from school, how I had been struggling. He had sent me money a number of times when I was in the hospital because if not that I was selling and the rain beats me, I fell sick, it's one thing or the other. So he was calling for people to support me whatsoever way they can. And that was how the story changed. I got an interview from the Vanguard newspaper, from the Tribune newspaper, and the story went viral. And I got money like I had never seen in my entire life. I
Wow.
know it might be small money to some people, but I got money like I had never seen in my entire life. So that was the start of a new story.
Wow. This is unbelievable. This is a real true story of someone who is actually laboring and doing God's work, and the intervention takes place. Um, your story is inspiring. When we come back, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue your story, but on the next level, where you are right now and what
All
you're
right.
actually doing. Okay. We're going to take a break, and then Obi has some questions for you. Obi, get ready for your questions when we come back from our break.
All right.
Welcome back to Broken Not Shattered. Our guest this afternoon, this morning, this evening, this night. I don't know where you are in the world watching us live. on Broken Not Shattered is a young, dynamic entrepreneur, Favor Ndukwe. Favor, your story is so inspiring. All the way in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, you have shared your story of your hustle. You have shared your story of the foundation of being raised up in a godly and Christ-like family, and that has helped you through. That in spite of everything, there's something you said there that was very important to me. You said that you could be in the same boat with Jesus Christ and still face the storm. But the problem is, do you recognize that he's in the boat? And obviously, if he's in the boat, that boat cannot sink. And that was your faith walk, and that was your belief. But you also mentioned that you had a traumatic experience. Tell us about the psychological trauma that you were going through, right? That made you quit from college, from university in your final year. And then we'll get back to that.
Okay. All right. With regards to that, losing, first of all, I was a daddy's girl, and losing my dad at 15 was a hard nut to crack, because he had too many big dreams for me. He wanted to see me at my best. He wanted to give me the best kind of education and all that it was. And it made me, I started having suitors very early, even at that age 15. I started having suitors. I am on the big side, so my sometimes my most times my age, I do not look my age, so I just start having very early suitors. And a normal African mom wants her daughter to settle down, because I'm the only daughter, and she doesn't want the stories of marrying late and all that. So it made me go into wrong relationships for the wrong reasons. And what was the wrong reason? I was looking for my father in the men that were coming. I was looking for my father in the men that were coming, and that was the wrongest of reasons to go into a relationship. I had not first discovered purpose. I did not know where I was going to, but I just wanted someone that was going to treat me as my dad. I just wanted, there was a kind of emotional closure I needed, and it made me dabble into
Mm.
a very wrong relationship.
Wow.
And as it were, the relationship, it led to pregnancy. I got pregnant in that relationship, and funny enough, I was dating a pastor who was about 19 years older than I was. And as I said, I was looking for my dad in this man,
Right.
because of the age difference, that fatherly figure. He was an older guy and all that. It led to pregnancy, which resulted to an abortion. And at the point of losing this pregnancy, I didn't even know I was pregnant to start with. My blood test was not showing it. My PPT test was neither showing it. So I was treating something else, and the antibiotics were very hard on my body. And it was more like I had started miscarrying, and the pregnancy was almost 4 months.
Wow. And you did not
Yes,
know?
I did not know.
You were still
My
seeing
body,
excited?
my body was. I knew I was sleeping. I knew I was doing. I was having different body languages that could say I was pregnant, because I also suspected it. That was the main reason I had to go and run those blood tests and whatever. So it was when I started bleeding. I had to go for an ultrasound scan that discovered a, I don't know how the doctor put it. It was something that, did they say, an almost half dead fetus in my womb, and I needed an evacuation for it.
Wow.
As at when this thing was happening, I was 18.
Hmm.
It was terrible. I could not tell my mother, because I did not really share that very close relationship with my mother. I had it with my dad. So having it then was as if it was too late. There was no ground to build the relationship already. So I spoke to the wrong people. I spoke to people who wanted to know the latest things that were going on in my life, not necessarily people who wanted to
Who
help.
cared? You're right,
So
you're right.
as at the time this was happening, I was asked to do an evacuation based on the Nollywood movie I used to watch. I said no, that I was going to die if I do an evacuation. So I started taking pills to push out the baby. I started taking pills. I was bleeding. I bled for almost 3 months.
Wow.
It was terrible. It was a very terrible incident. And then I had ovarian cyst and plenty, too many medical complications before I had acute PID and plenty things. So I was losing it because one, I was young. Number two, I was known as a mama in school. I preach in lecture halls and I do morning cries and all that. So it was as if there was nobody to actually talk to and speak to the person
Right, right, right,
as
right,
it was. So
right.
it was draining. It was draining me mentally,
Mhm.
psychologically. I was losing
Emotionally,
it. So I couldn't
emotionally,
even
physically.
focus on my academics. Yes, I was doing badly academically. So it was a very terrible incident, and I was losing sleep. I went into little things like taking codeine to be able to sleep and all that. So it was really terrible. It was
Wow.
really terrible. But God helping me, I was able to overcome. I had to start seeking medical guidance in as much as I did not have the money. But I just had to keep trying. I kept speaking to certain people about it. In as much as some people were using it to shame me and all that,
Exactly. Yep,
but
yep. I was waiting to hear that.
exactly, I didn't know where my help was going to come from. So I
Your head
just kept
from the Lord.
speaking to people. Yes, until I ran into a pastor who accepted me. First of all, he was scared of accepting me as a daughter to mentor because I had gone through so many things, both in ministry and as a young girl. So it was more like a risk. And I think that was when these whole standards about pastors were trending. So you don't even know who is actually coming to you for help and who is actually coming for you as whatever it may be. But somehow, he just trusted me, decided to help, linked me up to one barrister who started following my medical case at Save a Life here in Port Harcourt. And I started
Oh no, 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 no. We need. Oh, come on now. What is going on here? What is the network?
gradually.
Okay,
It was
great.
a very long process. It was a long process because at some time I had a mental breakdown. I could
Oh,
remember I had this best friend who comes all the way from Obo to Omoaya just for us to at least she comes 3 4 times a week. I was breaking down mentally. I
wow,
was depressed. I was going hysterics because I
wow.
could remember there were times I used to tell her I could use my slippers to build a house. I was losing it. I was actually losing it mentally, but I had little or no people to talk to because even before this thing had happened, I was known as a good writer on Facebook. I had lost my former Facebook account, so there was this perception people had about me. And in as much as I was not ready to lose it, but I wanted to first secure I wanted to first secure my life before fighting for a name, for a good name, as it were. So in summary, I started talking about my experience. By the time I started getting medical attention and I visited a therapist, I started healing gradually
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I
That's
started
good.
telling my story myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I started telling my story myself because I knew that one major way to heal is to tell your story yourself. Because if you
That's
let
correct.
people have the gist more than you get broken the more. If you let people begin
Exactly.
to ask you, did I hear? So this thing you said is true. This you said is true. That you no, I have written my story on social media. I have shared it on different platforms. So there is no version of it you bring to me that has anything on me. So what
Right.
I am
So you've taken control of the narrative, pretty much. You've taken complete control of your narrative, so nobody can actually come and tell your own story better than you yourself. Am I correct? Is she frozen?
exactly. So that is it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wow, Favor. This is a very, very, very insightful story. Um, but now there's a turning point. You've discussed the trauma. You're getting help, or you have gotten help, and now you're back again. God has restored you, and is restoring you, and now you have your own business. I'm made to believe by my team. Correct? You
Yeah.
now run your own restaurant or so? Can you hear me,
Sir,
Favor?
please come again. Please come again, sir.
Okay, I said things have turned around now. There's a turning point. Things have now
Yeah.
turned. God has restored you and is restoring you. Correct. So all
Yeah.
the trouble you had, all that pain and all that disappointment, you've now completely restored back to a position where you're now running your own business. Correct.
Okay. In other words, what I would have to say to the young women, if I am correct,
Yes. Yes. Go ahead. Yes. Inspire them. Yes. Go ahead.
yes, if I am correct, the inspiration I have drawn from the stories so far, and from all that has happened to me so far is one, you can never go wrong with God. You can never go wrong with God. Two, um, I feel, or I would say that young ladies or young women should believe in themselves, because sometimes you are all you have.
That's right.
Sometimes you are all you have. First, you have yourself first before any other person you can trust with whatsoever situation it might be. You have yourself first. So you must do everything to protect yourself. And for women who are in their healing stage, I would say that you deassociate yourself from everything that links you to the pain, so that you can heal completely. What do I mean by that? If you can go as far as deleting certain numbers for now, you can do it. If you can go as far as unfriending certain people on social media, you can do it. If you can go as far as restricting the kind of videos you see, even on your YouTube, on your TikTok, you can do it. Those are steps, those are intentional steps to help you heal. Things about these people that make you remember them, if they are clothes or anything, you can burn them for your sanity's sake. Not because you are bitter, but you first need to secure your mind,
Correct.
because
Correct.
any other thing that happens from here would also need your mind. So you first need to secure your mind, completely deassociate yourself from everything that can trigger
Everything that would be a trigger to that particular
yes
situation.
sir.
Wow, thank you so much, Favor. Obi, I know you have a question for her. Put your question through, and then let's find out um, what's going on with Favor. Favor, I have two questions for you before we wrap up, so I've written them down so I don't forget. Go ahead, Obi.
Yes, Trevor, time.
Obi, we can't hear you.
Trevor, can you hear me well now? Hi, Claire. I could
Yeah,
hear
go
you
ahead.
knowing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I said, Trevor, if not for time's sake, your story is a very interesting story, and honestly, we will have to bring you back again for more time. Listening to you, I had these goes through all over me. At such a young age, you experience, you know, those things that you went through, and those things today has not informed your message for the younger generation. So quickly, um, Trevor, can you just in your own words tell us who is Favor now and what is life now compared to life before? What is Favor doing now? Who is Favor currently? And how is life now compared to before?
Okay, currently, by God's grace, I run a fast food at Uniport in Choba, where I have workers under me by the grace of God. And the name of my fast food is Heaven Sports, and God has been helping us so far. Um, we did our 1 year anniversary last year, November, and by God's grace, Minister Judike, who started all this, who God used to start all this, was able to be here with us. She came She graced the occasion, and we, by God's grace, we are growing. We are growing according to our own capacity. Currently, I also run a perfume store here in Port Harcourt, Bellamore. We have a website too, here in Port Harcourt, Bellamore stores. And God has also been helping us at that level. And also, by God's grace, I try so much, at least once in a month, to reach out to young girls in school, to speak to them, to let them know that they can become everything and anything they want.
Amen.
I have this saying that you can have, as long as it's on the earth, you can have it.
That's
As
right.
long as it exists on the earth, it is possible. I love this quote that impossible is nothing. So this is a motto I carry on to secondary schools, letting young ladies know, letting the female child know that irrespective of your background, you can become any and everything. Even while flagging Jesus, you mustn't be on the pulpit. You mustn't be carrying the microphone. You can be on different
That's right.
sectors of influence.
That's right.
Yes, why still flagging Jesus?
Mhm.
So that is all I am doing for the now, and a few other side hustles, legit side hustles, because hustle in this stage means different things. Legit side hustles.
Correct.
Yes.
Wow, Favor, your story is so inspiring. You know, when you were talking, I remember something just came to my spirit based on my own personal life too. And it says, "What the enemy had planned for evil,
God
God
what
has
the
has turned it
enemy
around.
for evil, God had turned it around for your
How
good.
good. Yeah.
Your good. The enemy had planned to sniff you out because you were a voice that threatened his agenda, right? And so
Yeah.
he went to actually wipe you out and used all those things. But God, in His mercy and His power and His divine purpose, had made sure that in spite of everything you went through, you're going to come up on top. And you know why? Because now you have a story to tell. You were completely broken, but you were not shattered. I say that
Yeah.
again. You were broken, but you were not shattered because God can now use you better than He could have done before. Now you have gone through the eye of the tiger, right? You've gone through the path of death, right? And you've come out
Yes,
with that
sir.
light. So your story now is inspiring. Wow, what a story. My second and last question to you would be, what is your plans to go back to school? You're now at the University of Port Harcourt, running a restaurant. Don't you think you should go back to school and finish off while you're doing your business on that campus?
Exactly. I had plans on that, and I actually applied for to continue at UST, University of Science and Technology. Yes,
Okay.
as a part-time student, but that was at the early stage of my business. So I wanted to grow the business to a point where it can do without me, and I would not experience any level of loss. So I had to go serve in one of the conventional eateries around to know how it is possible that you leave your business in the hands of total strangers and you're not running loss. So it's part of my plan for this year to
Yeah.
come to return back to school. Yes.
Yeah, but I think if you're in University of Port Harcourt selling food on campus, it is easier to register in that same university if possible,
Yeah.
right? Because then you just walk
Yeah.
across, do your lectures, and come back to your business. You do your lectures, you come back to you're already in that same place. You're a student there, and you're also a vendor on the same campus. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I had that in mind, but because of the strike, I thought of that. I said I wouldn't want anything that would make me spend 1 2 years at home again, maybe because of strike or something. Because the University of Science and Technology here in Port Harcourt, they are not members of the ASU, so
Oh,
nothing makes them go on strike. So
okay.
if yes, if the strike is on, it doesn't affect them.
Oh
So
wow.
that
Okay.
was my reason.
Okay. Okay. Well, please let us know any way we can support you when you decide to make the decision. I want to see you graduate with your degree. I think it's very important in today's world, especially as a believer. If you have the capacity to go to college, so you have something to stand on. Yes, your education is the foundation of what you have. You share that your father said he wants you to be well educated and a balanced young Christian girl. So if that's the case,
Exactly.
I also want to make sure that, if that's the case, then I also want to make sure that at the end of the day, that please, if you can, graduate and make sure you hold your degree in hand. So, in spite of anything that happens in life, when they call the name of graduates on campus, your name will show up. You understand? Your business is
Yes, sir.
business is doing well, yes, but if you can just have that extra bonus, it means just an extra bonus that gives you that leverage to climb the business ladder or the corporate ladder or whatever purpose and destiny you have in life.
Yeah.
And we will be willing to support you in that pursuit. So please let us know. After this show, I am going to make a donation to your business or to your foundation. If I
Wow.
call the amounts now, everyone will start DMing me, so I will not call the amount. But I will make a very substantial contribution to the things you're doing to support your work in ministry. Okay,
Thank
I
you,
want to
sir.
encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. I don't know how old you are. If you want to tell my audience, that's fine. I don't ask women how old they
I'm
are.
24. I clocked 24 few days ago.
Oh,
Yes. Second
wow.
March made me 24.
How many? 20? When?
Second March, just few days ago.
You just had a birthday?
Yes, sir.
So we are gonna sing happy birthday to you then. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Thank
birthday
you.
to you. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
Listen,
Thank you.
Obi, she just turned 24, right? And so now we have a young 24 dynamic entrepreneur who's part of this great platform. Favor, thank you for sharing your story with Obi and I and the
Thank
entire
you so
audience.
much, sir.
Your mute. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure having you on Broken Not Shattered. We've gone over time, but guess what? My producers are saying, "Sir, we're running over," but that's fine because when we have a story like this, I want it to go out to the whole world for the whole world to see. You have been such an inspiration to myself, to Obi, my entire team, and all our audience. And we will make sure that your story sells. Please tell your friends to join us on Broken Not Shattered. Go to the YouTube channel, click, notify. We are here to share these kind of stories. Favor, thank you so much. What a pleasure
Thank you
having
so
you.
much, sir.
And you will
Thank
hear
you,
from
sir.
us very soon, both for your birthday and also for your ministry. All right?
All right,
All
sir.
right,
Thank you,
Favor,
sir.
thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Wow, what an inspiring story, Obi. Whoa,
Wow.
man. Oh, man. What a
You know,
story.
I
Wow.
couldn't just help just stay and listen.
Yes, yes, yes. We're gonna bring her
So,
back.
so
I think we're gonna bring her back in another segment with the youth very soon. I think she has a lot
but
to share. We
if
have
you
a minute to
remember,
go. Hmm?
okay, okay. I
You,
think if you remember when we started Broken Not Shattered, these were some of these things we kept talking about,
yes, yes, right.
and we talked about people finding strength in themselves,
That's
even
right.
when nobody knew.
Wow.
Now, when we talk about therapy, we talk about mental health. The
Mm.
question is, who counseled her? Who
Yes,
was her therapist?
right.
But I'm sure she was able to find strength within herself.
Mm.
And that's not just that. She was able to stay alive. She had a hope even when she could not feel it. She could
Yes,
just imagine and let it stay in her brain. You see what
right.
I kept telling you? Stay alive if you have the opportunity to stay alive. You never
Yes,
can tell
yes, yes, yes.
how life will favor you and when it will happen.
And
And
this is what happened to
it's a
Favor.
perfect
Man, thank you.
example of,
Yes,
woo,
exactly, exactly. Wow. All right, we're gonna wrap up. On behalf of my entire team and those the background who are doing all the work, Obi and I want to share our famous three words: peace, love, and more grace.
um,
See you sometime, same time next week, Sunday on Broken Not Shattered.